Top 10 things that aren't as modern as you may think. As a general public, we are exceptionally fortunate to live in the time span that we do. While things may appear to be horrible with environmental change, equipped clash, and pandemics, we truly need to pause for a minute to like the things we do have. Running water, focal warming, food decisions amazing. A great many people would state we're truly living in the brilliant time of solace, yet imagine a scenario in which we're definitely not. Imagine a scenario in which all the things we consider so progressive today has really been around for a long time before us. Today you will find out around 10 such things that are far more established than you might suspect. Top 10. People had flushing toilets 4,000 years ago. Crapping is the extraordinary equalizer of humankind. Rich or poor, incredible, or submissive. You'll need to crap and it will smell. Indeed, even today all through huge parts of the world, a few nations actually battle with the coordinations of waste administration and protecting their networks from the sickness and vermin that come from not appropriately discarding their poops. But on the off chance that you take a gander at the human advancement of the Indus River Valley, you'll discover something intriguing. Dating right back to 2,000 BC, archaeologists have discovered that not exclusively do the homes in the territory have the leftovers of private latrines, they likewise don funneling and septic tanks to divert and store their loss until a laborer could confess all them out. 4,000 years prior, and they were working with a though rough yet powerful approach to keep their towns liberated from the approaching threat of crap. Top 9. Oreos predate chocolate chip cookies by a lot. Handcrafted chocolate chip treats are a staple in American homes. Nothing is more work of art and ageless in the preparing scene than a new chocolate chip made with affection, and in the psyches of a great many people, they couldn't envision a world where chocolate chip treats weren't a thing. For an entire age of children, however, that involved fact. The main chocolate chip treat formula wasn't distributed until 1938, not exactly 100 years prior. While that probably won't be the most stunning thing to hear, the mass-created sleeves of Oreos you see on store retires today had been underway since 1912, 26 entire years before the main chocolate chip treat was heated. Quite a gigantic hole of time that individuals grew up and had children of their own with just Oreos as their treat of decision. Barbaric. Top 8. Touchscreen displays existed with black and white TVs. Essentially everybody has a touchscreen PC in some structure nowadays. Regardless of whether it be a tablet or PDA, you're utilizing your fingers to connect with it as opposed to squeezing catches. While public touchscreens presumably aren't the best thing in the public arena right now with the pandemic seething, it seems like a genuinely new thing in the public cognizant. Obviously, that isn't the case. The first touchscreen was really protected right in 1965, the greater part a century back. Called a capacitive touchscreen, it utilized disturbances in the screen's electric charge to peruse where a finger was connecting with it and info it as an order. Incredibly, this innovation is as yet utilized in most cell phone and tablets today. It's more refined with things like multi-contact shows, yet the idea is as yet the equivalent. Top 7. Beer is an old creation. It is anything but a stretch to envision that lager is an old creation. Most stories since forever include characters becoming inebriated and celebrating to keep away from the devastating reality that life was at that point, and who could accuse them? They didn't have contact screens and latrines yet. Brew is such a great amount of more established than you'd might suspect, however. So a lot more established. Truth be told, humankind sorted out some way to become inebriated before they sorted out some way to appropriately handle bread, contingent upon your meaning of it. While proof exists that people were at any rate crushing wheat and seeds 20,000 years prior, it isn't known precisely what individuals were doing with them. The main genuine known formula for something like bread sprung up around 1,000 BC in Egypt. That is over 4,000 years after the primary formula for brew was composed. 4,000 years of individuals getting sloshed and eating grains before somebody chose to invest somewhat more energy. Top 6. The first contacts really sucked. Eyeglasses have been around for quite a while and there's no stretch there, yet you may be astounded to hear that eye contacts were first created right back in the last part of the 1800s for general use. That may be befuddling to you since plastics wouldn't be in large-scale manufacturing for a long time still, so how is it possible that contacts would exist so early? The appropriate response, horrifyingly, was that they were made of glass. Furthermore, In light of the fact that there was no real way to get the best possible state of the iris, the glass contact needed to cover the whole eye. Since glass doesn't breathe well, this implied that anybody wearing a contact was in steady agony as their eyes in a real sense choked underneath the glass. For quite a long time individuals would take cocaine eye drops to dull the agony of their contacts before better, more slender materials came into utilization. It truly makes you wonder, why not simply wear eyeglasses? Top 5. Gladiators were getting sponsorship deals. Wherever you go you are getting flooded with ads. Regardless of whether it be a bulletin out and about or a game decoration attempting to sell you caffeinated drinks while sitting in a seat for 10 hours. Advertisements are all over the place, yet they don't deteriorate than the sponsorships for sports competitors. Wore head to toe in organization logos and upholding the ethics of the most noteworthy bidder. It makes you long for when game wasn't so corporate. But as history shows, there was probably never when sports weren't being purchased by the man. Going right back to the day of the combatants, you can discover proof that organizations and rich people the same were paying admirably performing warriors to inform the groups concerning their one sorts of undergarments and blades. Simply envision two people battling to the passing for the sake of Burger King. Top 4. Ming Dynasty Cardboard. Where might we be as an animal varieties without cardboard? We manage it consistently to transport and store items all around the globe, and chances are you have a pile of it sitting toward the edge of your room at this moment. We as a general public basically wouldn't have the option to work without it, and that is exactly how things have been for an amazingly long time. While cardboard first came into utilization in quite a while toward the beginning of the 19th century, it had been underway in China since the period of the Ming Dynasty, right back to the mid-1500s, and it was utilized for almost precisely the same reason as today. Putting away and dispatching products significant distances. Quite a basic creation, however it's difficult to envision that it has truly been around for that long. Top 3. The seemingly immortal Betty White. Betty White probably won't be a decent or administration that is more seasoned than you'd might suspect, seeing as she's an absolutely real individual. However, she's as yet worth a notice on this rundown since no one can portray her similar to the best thing since cut bread, considering cut bread wasn't developed until after Betty White was born. Born in 1922, Betty White originates before cut bread by 6 entire years. She was at that point beginning school when bread started thinking responsibly and began coming previously cut in the stores. It truly places into viewpoint how old Betty really is, the point at which you think about it in this sense. Top 2. The Romans had central heating. At the point when winter hit in the 1800s, you had two choices. Group together for warmth and expectation, or stick to death. Focal warming without the need to fuel a chimney is as yet a fairly new pleasantry to lodging in colder locales, yet it's close to difficult to envision what life would resemble without it. That is the amount of a distinction it makes to not need to freeze through the last 50% of the year. While our progenitors may have endured incredibly, our more old precursors apparently had it much easier. As antiquated vestiges show us, the private homes of certain Romans were worked with things called hypocausts. Holes in the floors with earthenware radiates that permitted heat from their heater or a close-by fire to be pushed under the structure and consumed into the tiles above, warming the house and keeping it an easily warm temperature for the tenants. Top 1. Among Us is more than a flavor of the quarantine period. Sorry, boomers. We're getting the Zoomers interested with this final part of the list. Free on telephones and $5 on PC, the multiplayer round of trickiness Among Us has assumed control over the web and major news sources for the most recent month, as a huge number of individuals tuned in consistently to both play and watch the game on the web. Marketing detonated and the gathering behind the game quickly began attempting to improve the game with personal satisfaction changes and new substance to stay aware of demand. Imagine they're unexpected when the game exploded for the time being, considering the organization had delivered it to little ballyhoo almost 3 years previously. The gathering behind the game was so little indeed, that when Among Us initially exploded they needed to retry the manner in which individuals made workers, because endless individuals were playing that worker codes began covering and compelling various gatherings together as opposed to permitting them to play secretly with companions. The game keeps on ruling the market as the group wildly attempts to proceed with their updates to a game that was apparently failed to remember just a month previously. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Have a nice day.